Today we are taking a look at every single Star Wars release coming up here in August 2025, with the exception of the Force Burner Snowspeeder from Rebuild the Galaxy. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on this controversial wave. Is it too expensive? Are the minifigures any good? Is the turbo tank falling apart in people's hands, and should it have had a grab handle? And then which of the 8 is my personal favorite? Let's get into it. So we're going to start smallest to largest with the 327th Star Corps Clone Troopers Battle Pack, coming in at a whopping $45, and we'll come back to that in a minute. We're going to get 3 Super Battle Droids here. They do all look okay. They're all pretty typical, so nothing special, but I am glad that they added them to the set. Then we get 4 327th Clone Troopers, and let me tell you, these things look amazing in my opinion. Technically, we did get a previous version of the 327th Clone Trooper back in 2007, but here we are with these brand new amazing versions. They have a new pauldron piece on the shoulders, which looks really good. They have the new rangefinder piece as well from the Django Fett Slave 1 that was released earlier in the year. The printing on the torso and the pants looks really good. We don't have any printing on the arms, and also no waist capes, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to be sad about. But in my opinion, these minifigures still look incredible, and I'm really happy we got all 4 of these in this battle pack. We also get a few side builds, obviously, in the set. The first one is going to be kind of this small mortar that the clone troopers can use. It's basically a stud shooter. And then we go a little bit bigger with this brick-built spider droid. It's got 4 legs that are all movable. We have the blaster on the front. The centerpiece doesn't swivel at all, but still looks pretty good. And overall, I think it's a pretty good design. Shoot. And then the largest side build in this set, and my favorite for sure, is going to be the ATRT. I love the color pattern on this with the yellow and the grays. The stud shooter on the front definitely does throw me off. I get that this is a play scale set, 7+, so I understand the idea behind it, but it does kind of look out of place there. We get 1 sticker sheet in this set, and all of those stickers are on this ATRT. They are stickers, so that's unfortunate, but they do look really good, and they give this kind of rugged feel to the ATRT, which I really like. So overall, I like the set, and I especially like the minifigures. But now we got to talk about the price. $45, which is over 17 cents price per piece, which is just crazy. Comparing this newer set to the older 501st Legion Clone Trooper Battle Pack, which had a lot of similarities and came in at $30, we can really see how crazy this $45 price tag is. And then even if we want to look at the currently available Clone Trooper and Battle Droid Battle Pack, also coming in at $30. I just don't see where LEGO got this $45 price tag, but it's nothing that I would pay for this set. So I think the community is pretty much on the same wavelength when it comes to this set for the most part. I think B1-547's comment here said it pretty well. I think I speak for all of the sets in this wave, except for the turbo tank, that the sets themselves are very good, but the prices are so bad. And I think that's the big glaring issue here. The price, even though the price is not good on this set at all, with the poll that I put up on YouTube, the majority of people still did vote this a like, just by a slim margin, just over 50%, but it still did come in a like. Wrapping this set up, here's all the grades on the different categories for this set, and that is going to put this set into the maybe purchase category. I think this is a maybe. If you just absolutely have to have this day one, go for it. You're going to overpay. A little bit smaller, so not my typical set that I would purchase, but if a discount does get run on this set, I think it is cool, and I think it definitely does become a maybe at that point in time. Next up is going to be the V19 Torrent Starfighter. This one's going to come in at $65 US. We did get 2 previous versions of this Starfighter back in 2008. The one was a little bit larger with a lower piece count, and then we also got a polybag version of this Starfighter also in that 2008. This new V19 Torrent is going to come with 3 minifigures, all of which are amazing in my opinion. First is going to be General Obi-Wan Kenobi. He looks incredible. He's got really good printing on his torso and his legs, but then we also get some amazing printing on the arms as well on this minifigure. Asajj Ventress is next here. We've had 3 previous versions of this minifigure in the past, but this is by far the best one in my opinion. I do love the fact that they gave her the curved lightsaber hilt for both her lightsabers, which looks really good as well. And then we come to the Phase 1 clone pilot. I know a lot of people are going to be happy about this minifigure. Looks absolutely amazing. The helmet looks amazing. The printing looks really good. So overall, this is just a great minifigure and a really nice addition to this set. Moving on to the main build of the set, which is, of course, the V19 V19 Torrent Starfighter. I think it looks really good. I know I've heard kind of some mixed reviews on this. We're going to get one small sticker sheet in this build, so not too bad. There are no prints in the set as a whole, so that is unfortunate. I actually really enjoyed building this. I've enjoyed building it actually a lot more than I even thought I would. The build itself is super solid. It feels really good in the hand. It's great for swooshing it around and that playability factor. We also have a couple stud shooters on the ends of the side wings, which adds a little bit more functionality to this set. In the center, we see this nice yellow windscreen, which also adds some nice color to the set. And then you can fit the clone pilot in the cockpit, albeit it is kind of tight to fit him in there. The wings do have the ability to open and close, so you can put it into your flight mode, and then of course you can also put it into landing mode. Pricing on this one comes in at $65, which is still slightly high in my opinion, but it's actually much more reasonable, coming in at just over 11-cent price per piece, especially considering we get the 3 amazing minifigures in this set. I can live with the price point on this one. So ever since this set was first announced and the pictures were shown online, it did feel like this set was getting a lot of negativity. But after putting up the poll on YouTube, the majority of you all did vote towards the positive side on this set. Not heavily, but over 60% voted this set in the light category. So this set is going to get a favorable grade in the community grade category. So after looking at everything on the V19 Torrent here, this is where all the grades in the different categories land. That is going to put the overall grade on this set at 71 out of 100, and that is going to land this set just barely into the consider buying this set category. Again, I thought this set was really good. It actually really surprised me at how much I actually did enjoy putting this set together and playing with it a little bit. So I do recommend this set overall. Moving on to Django Fett Starship for $70. This is one of the better price sets in the wave. We're going to get 3 minifigures in this set as well, with the young Boba Fett minifigure being the first one here. This is repurposed from the Django Fett Slave 1 and still has a lot of the same issues, obviously. Then we're going to get Django Fett himself without the arm printing like we saw in the UCS Django Fett Slave 1. I know a lot of people will be upset about that as well. In my opinion, I like the fact that they keep kind of the more exclusive minifigures in the UCS versions. I don't like when they start crossing things over and putting exclusive UCS version minifigures into smaller, cheaper sets. It kind of diminishes the value that you're getting if you're going to purchase a big UCS set and spend the money to do that. However, I know a lot of people differ in that regard and would prefer to see some of those exclusive minifigures in cheaper sets, but that's just my take on it. And then the third minifigure here is an exclusive Lama Su, which also looks amazing. I know a lot of people will be happy about this minifigure as well. Now, moving on to the build itself, the play scale Django Fett Starship. This is very similar to the previous, I think, 2021 Boba Fett's play scale Slave 1. I'm going to be honest here, coming off of building the UCS version of Django Fett Starship, it definitely felt like a little bit of a downgrade to build this and was a little bit underwhelming because of that experience I just had with the UCS version, but it's still a cool set. It obviously is in the 9+ age bracket, so I get what they're doing here. This is more for someone to enjoy and play with for the younger audience. You do get 4 stud shooters on the front, which is nice. You get this really cool mechanism. If you press this button right here at the top, it will drop a trap door out, and then we get 2 seismic charges with this set. The wings themselves don't rotate nearly as nicely as the ones on the UCS version. I'm assuming that's just because they're a lot smaller and don't have as much weight as the UCS version wings did, but they don't rotate quite as well as I would like them to. We do get 1 sticker sheet on the build, and overall, I think they all look pretty good. At the top here, we do get the opening cockpit, and we can actually fit 2 minifigures in here, so you can get young Boba Fett in there as well as Django Fett, which is nice. Now, we also get this really cool small transport side build here. You can actually put a minifigure up front here, which is really nice. This part actually lifts up and turns into the stand for the Django Fett Starship, which is cool. And then you also have some spots here for Django's guns and then a small container for storage. The price point on this at $70 for 707 pieces is actually decent. It's going to come in under 10-cent price per piece, which is great to see, especially in this wave. The previous version of the Boba Fett Starship obviously did come in at $50, but that also had a lot less pieces at 593, and then it also had 1 less minifigure. So I do feel like we're getting a solid value with this Django Fett Starship at $70, given the higher piece count and the fact that we get that extra minifigure with Lama Su. Now, as far far as what the community voted on the poll for this set, again, the majority of people were very positive towards this, with almost 80% going towards like as of this recording. And then even this user here saying, only set I'll be getting out of this wave. Here's where we fall on the graded categories of the play scale Django Fett Slave 1. That is going to put this final grade at 77 out of 100, which will put this one also into the consider buying this set category. Now we're going to come to the really controversial one, the Republic Juggernaut or Turbo Tank, coming in at $160 for 813 pieces. Now I'm going to be completely upfront. This is actually the set that drew my attention the most from a looks perspective when I first saw the whole wave, and I actually thought that it looked really good. Granted, this is my first Turbo Tank that I have ever built, so this is going to be coming from someone that is kind of going into this with like a clean slate. I have no preconceived ideas from the 3 previous versions of the Turbo Tank, so I'm just looking at this as a standalone Turbo Tank with no previous experience. Let's start off by looking at the minifigures first. So we get 3 battle droids with the set, which are pretty typical. They're nice. And then we get Kiadi Mundi. This is an exclusive version. It looks really good with the printing on the front, torso, and legs. Commander Bakara is next. And I know a lot of people have also had a negative feeling about this one with the helmet itself. I actually thought the helmet looked a little bit weird in the pictures as well, but after looking at the minifigure and getting it in hand, I actually think it looks really good. I think it actually looks very accurate, and I like this minifigure a lot. Now, for whatever reason, my favorite minifigures in this set are definitely going to be the Galactic Marines. We get 3 of them in this set. We get a brand new dual molded helmet here with the dual coloring, which looks incredible. I know there have been some misprints out there on the helmets themselves. I did not get any of those in my batch here. They get a small backpack. Unfortunately, that doesn't have any printing. But let's talk about the Turbo Tank itself. I know this set has been getting a lot of hate online, and just to be clear again, I am coming at this set without any preconceived notions from previous Turbo Tanks. In my opinion, I actually think this Turbo Tank looks really good for whatever reason. It is a lot smaller than the previous version, so I will say that is a drawback. I would have liked to have maybe seen this be a little bit bigger. I do not like the brick-built wheels on this. I would have liked to have seen maybe some single molded pieces for the wheels. That would have been really cool and would have really upgraded this a lot. Speaking of the wheel system here, there is actually no suspension system on the tank, but the way they were still able to achieve the full range of movement with all 10 wheels here was actually really amazing. There's a gunner position on the rear of the tank, and then there's also a lookout post on the front of the tank, which can be completely pulled out, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, doesn't have any stopper, which is odd. Now, the set does open up nicely to give you full access to the interior and does have a good amount of space for minifigures, albeit the set is a little bit smaller. The rear is definitely a lot less accessible than the front, which has a lot more space. We get 1 sticker sheet with this set, and we can see some of the controls and decor on the exterior of the tank with these stickers. Now, the big thing going around about this set is the fact that it's falling apart when you pick it up, as well as the fact that it just doesn't have a clear place or clear grab handle for you to pick this set up with. I do see everyone's point with this. It probably could have a little bit more of a solid interior frame. I have not had that problem with handling this set. Yes, if you grab the set with some force, it may come apart like any other Lego set, but I did not have any problem with picking this set up. I picked it up by the door. I picked it up in multiple different sections. Really did not have any problem with it. Regardless of that fact, I probably wouldn't pick it up in these ways anyways. This is a tank, so I'm not necessarily going to be swishing this one around, so this one is just going to be driving along. Normally, I would pick this set up from like the center point here, or I just pick it up from the bottom regardless. That's the way I would pick up any other kind of fragile Lego set. So I don't see a huge issue with this set falling apart, not just from the fact that it didn't fall apart for me when I was playing around with it, but at the same point in time, I don't think you're going to be picking it up like that a whole bunch. On the price, though, I can't defend this set, unfortunately. Just over 800 pieces for $160 with a price per piece of almost 20 cents is just completely crazy. Yes, we get some cool minifigures, but there is nothing super unique here that I would say would justify that price in any way. This, in my opinion, is a $80 to $100 set. That might be low, but that's where I feel like this set should probably be priced. So unless you have to have this set day one, I'd be waiting for a discount. So on the community grade, it's no surprise. Most people are pretty heavily against this set, with Rovan Draw stuff saying this is the definition of a pass. And that, I think, sums it up because this vote only got about 20% of people voting like. This is where all the grades fall on the different categories, and that is going to give this a final grade of 55 out of 100, which my opinion may be unpopular on this one. I would consider this a consider buying this set, but it is going to fall into the maybe category. The number 5 set here is going to be K2SO Security Droid, coming in at $90. It's a smaller piece count at 845 pieces, but actually a pretty tall build. K2SO is a super cool droid. The all black with the pops of gray and yellow coloring look absolutely great in my opinion. It's actually a super sturdy build with a really solid base, and then basically kind of comes together like a mech build would. The torso does have the ability to move side to side, along with the arms have the ability to do a full 360, and then they can also be positioned in a lot of different ways, which is really nice for display. The head also sits on a ball and socket joint, so that actually also does have the ability to do a full 360-degree motion. And then something I really like here that the designers added is the fact that they gave K2SO a brain, which leads me to believe that he's just faking being a droid and he's probably a human. Unfortunately, we do get one sticker sheet with this set, so most of the mechanics on his suit are stickers, and then the other sticker we get here are the Empire logos on his arms, which actually look really cool even though they are stickers. We do get one printed piece with this set, and that is going to be the info plaque, which looks really good, and I'm glad that they actually printed it. And then we get a K2SO minifigure. I would have liked to have seen an exclusive minifigure added to this set. It would have been cool to see like an exclusive molded longer leg piece put on this minifigure, just kind of giving that longer, lankier feel to the minifigure. I kind of feel like this one has like this more of a short, stubby feel to it, but still glad that they added the minifigure, and I do think it rounds out the set really nicely. Now, the price on this set is $90, which is just over the 10-cent price per piece marker, which I actually think is perfect. I love the fact that we're getting a set under $100 here, and I absolutely felt like I got a full $90 value out of this set. So obviously, I'm a big fan of this K2SO set, but what did you all think of the set itself? Looking at the poll, overwhelmingly, with over 70% of votes, most of you all voted this alike, which is great to see because I am a big fan of this set and I want to see it do well. So here's all the grades on K2SO, and that is going to put the final grade at 78 out of 100, which is going to put K2SO in the consider buying this set category. I would almost even say that this would be a must buy for me, but I don't think it's quite there. Coming down to the final three, and the third largest set out of this wave is the Battle of Felucia Separatist MTT, coming in at $160. This is one that I think probably a lot of people have at the top of their list. This also has another great lineup of minifigures. The first minifigure we get here is Ayla Secura. This is the third version and definitely an upgrade with the better printing in my opinion. Commander Bly in this set is also exclusive and looks incredible. We have the new Paul Drawn piece again here, which looks great. He also has the drop-down visor on his helmet, so just all around looks great as a minifigure. We get 6 battle droids, which are all pretty typical, but great to have a bunch of them here for obvious reasons with this set. And then we also have a pilot battle droid, which is the same version we got in the 2024 troop carrier, but of course, we have had a lot of previous versions of this figure going all the way back to 2001 with the original battle droid carrier. And then lastly, we get 3 commando droids here in this kind of brand new gunmetal color. I know the new color also has been getting some heat online, but I actually do really think this gunmetal looks really good. I think it's a massive upgrade to these commando droids, and I think it looks great. Now, the MTT itself, I must admit, threw me off when I first saw it with the color scheme. I'm used to the brown color scheme, and the bright blues definitely threw me off on this one. However, I will say the color has been growing on me since I built it, and then the coloring also does look pretty accurate. I love the printed door hatch that we see right up front here. That looks really incredible, and I'm glad it's not a sticker. We also get a couple turrets up front here, which are pretty cool, and they are adjustable. At the top, we actually get this piece here that pops off to give us full access to the cockpit cockpit for the pilot battle droid. All the side panels on this MTT open up really nicely to give you full access into the interior, kind of like we saw with the turbo tank. Inside here, there's not a whole bunch of room, but you do get some room to stage minifigures, and then you're also going to get a bunch of blasters that are ready for battle use. Now, of course, the big thing on this set is the interior mechanism that makes up the troop carrier function, which is incredible. It's super smooth. Everything works really seamlessly. I thought how all of this worked together was simply incredible when I put this set together and started playing around with it. Now, on price at $160, unfortunately, we still are way overpriced on this set as well. Yes, it's not as bad as the turbo tank at just over 16-cent price per piece, but it's still way up there. I do feel like this set overall is better than the turbo tank, so there is more value here in my opinion, but I would have loved to have seen this one come in more around the $100 to $120 range. So Lee Price said here, the $160 price makes this set unlikable. Now, the initial vibe that I got was that the price was the big issue with this set, but most people were actually happy about the set itself. After posting the YouTube poll, though, did most people vote this a don't like? Looking at the poll, that is not the case. Over 80% voted this set a like, so that tells me that people are very excited about it, but just like Lee Price said, the price is the big issue here. So this is where that leaves us on the grade of this set. And that is going to put the final grade at 79 out of 100, which is the highest grade up to this point, and is going to nudge out K2SO by 1 point for that top spot. The second to last set here is Wicket the Ewok, coming in at $130, just over 1,000 pieces on this set. The build of Wicket was a cool build. It is really cool to see Wicket in kind of this large building character form. I thought the build was enjoyable and came together pretty nicely. We do have this small heart piece inside, which I thought was fun. Wicket's face does look pretty good, and the eyes are printed. Definitely a lot more accurate than the previous Chewbacca figure. In his left hand here, we build out this spear, which looks really good and has this really nice stone piece for the tip of the spear, which I'm not sure if we've ever seen that before. And then in his right hand, we get this small white cylindrical piece, which is basically meant to kind of mimic the treat that Princess Leia gave Wicket in the movies. There really is no movement on Wicket here. You can't move his arms. You can't move his legs really at all. You can move his fingers and his toes, but I wouldn't really consider that any major movement because you can't really stage him in any different ways for display. And since we are talking about display, we do get another printed plaque here, which is cool, and a Wicket minifigure, which is also awesome. I love the fact that they have been adding minifigures to these buildable characters, which is really great to see. It does appear that the Wicket minifigure here is being reused from the 2022 4+ ATST. Now, pricing at $130 for this set with just over 1,000 pieces is not outrageous at just over 12 cents, but I just didn't feel like there was $130 worth of value here for some reason. Yes, it's cool to have Wicket in this character form, and they did do a good job on the set itself and the build, but it's just a pretty small character. It honestly feels more like a $60 to $70 purchase for me. I may be completely out of left field on that, but it is a very small little build here, and I just don't feel like we're anywhere near $130 for this set. So on the community vote, I don't think this has ever happened before, but somehow we ended up with an exact split. 50% of you liked the set, 50% of you did not like the set. So I'm curious to see how this one actually sells. With that, this is where all the grades fall on Wicket, and that is going to put the final grade on this set at 58 out of 100, which is going to put this set just into the maybe category. And last but definitely not least, the only 18+ set in this wave, the UCS ATST, coming in at $200. Now, I did just create a video reviewing the original LEGO UCS ATST that we got way back in the day, and then also a brand new mock version from brickwars.net. Obviously, if you've watched that video, you'll see that I was a big fan of the Brick Wars model, which was highly detailed and had an amazing base to kind of go with the set. Funny enough, this UCS AT-AT is kind of like a hybrid version of those two sets. Starting with the legs, they're a little bit bulkier than the original LEGO version, but still a lot slimmer than the actual Brick Wars model. But then as we go up to that center module, we're going to notice that more 90-degree angle that we saw with the Brick Wars model. The legs and the feet actually sit pretty wide and kind of point outward, which I can't say that I love all that much. There is some really good detailing on the legs. We get one sticker sheet with this set, and we can see those being put to use on some of the external detailing. The center unit is a lot less detailed than the Brick Wars version, so it definitely left me kind of wanting more with this center module. I'm pretty sure that Lego stole the tire idea for the center support from Brick Wars, but it does look really good on this set. And then again, the top head of the ATST is like an exact mix of those two previous versions. More detailed than the Lego version, but less detailed than the Brick Wars version. There is full access to the interior through the top hatch. You have a couple seats and then some printed control panels. The exterior has the eye openings that can close, and then we have the front twin blasters that can swivel up and down, as well as the side weapons, which also can swivel. The head does swivel just slightly from side to side. It's a little bit fragile, but that really is no different than the other two versions of the ATSTs that I reviewed. So all in all, it's not tiled off and super clean like we saw with the Brick Wars version, but it still does look really good in my opinion. Now, the last few things here, we do get a nice printed plate with this one, unlike the original Lego ATST, which was a sticker. And then we also get an exclusive ATST driver, which I am very excited to see. Very similar to the 2022 version of this minifigure, but way more detailed printing on the torso and also on the legs. And then we even get amazing arm printing on this minifigure. Overall, I still really like this set. It's super sturdy. It looks really good, so I can't complain on this one. Now, pricing on this set at $200 for just over 1,500 pieces puts the price per piece at just over 13 cents. I don't think that's horrible. It typically does fall in line with most of the other UCS Star Wars sets that we get, but it still just is a little bit high. I don't feel like we got a bad value here, though, at $200, so I'm not going to complain too much about this one on the price. So my opinion aside, what did you all think of this UCS ATST? Over 70% of you voted this set alike, so the large majority of you do appear to like this set. DStole66 did say, definitely picking this bad boy up when it goes on sale, and I think maybe the only issue for some people on this set, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, is still just the price. Regardless of that, looking at all the grades here on the UCS ATST, it's still going to come in with a pretty solid final grade of 74 out of 100, which is going to put this set into the consider buying this set category. So after looking at all 8 of these sets, I feel like we got really an incredible wave here for the August Star Wars wave. However, obviously the big problem is the pricing on a lot of these sets. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And for whatever reason, on the ones that Lego did price high, they really just priced it way out of reality, in my opinion. So out of the 8 sets, which one was my favorite? Without a doubt, I am gonna have to go with K2SO on this one. I thought the build process was amazing. I think the set is gonna display really well. I think the colors look really good. And then I thought it was just a really fair price and a really good value for a set. So really enjoyed this one. Drop a comment. Let me know which set you are most excited about out of this August wave. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.